60 years ago today, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech in front of a crowd of 250,000 people at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. That moment, of course, resonated all over the world and had deep roots in Atlanta, Dr. King's home and the cradle of the civil rights movement.
The March on Washington, also an iconic moment for the fight for equality. I had the rare opportunity to sit down with former Atlanta Mayor and U.S. Ambassador Andrew Young, who stood on the front lines that day with Dr. King. Take us back to that day 60 years ago.
The thing that was so wonderful was that nobody was angry, nobody was bitter. It was a peaceful, it was a love fest. And we were celebrating the fact, really, not that things were bad, but that we were making things better without violence. The federal government was very nervous about it because they didn't know what would happen. But we were really pleased that I don't think we had a single person arrested that day. And you can compare that with January 6th.
When you all get to Washington on that National Mall and you see this time of organization brought together more than 200,000 people, what was it like on that day knowing that you all put that together?
And I think it gave a positive vision of hope to America, which we need every bit as much now, maybe more now, than we did in 1963. Mahalia Jackson sang her heart out, and Martin Luther King started preaching the sermon that somebody wrote for him. And Mahalia Jackson kept saying, "Tell them about the dream, Martin, tell them about the dream." And he shifted gears and he said, "But I have a dream that one day the former slaves and the former slave owners will sit down at a table of brotherhood."
What parts of the dream do you see being lived out today?
Well, I look around this city and I see you. But when somebody takes me into a fancy restaurant in this town, I've not been in a restaurant in the last 10 years when almost half the clientele were not black. If you look at this town any time of the day or night, it's moving forward, and race is only significant for those that we have left behind. And that's where the crime rate comes from. That's where the mental illness comes from. That's where we still have a lot of work to do.
And Ambassador Young said one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that the March on Washington, it took them almost 2 years to plan it. They started marching in Birmingham, Alabama a couple of years prior, as local activists had saw their homes and their churches bombed again and again. So the fight really started in Birmingham, and they were so energized. They said, let's take this all the way to DC. He said the success came from the planning and the preparation and meeting with the local authorities in DC to say, we're coming, this is what we're doing. So when they got there, it was peaceful and it was able to go off that way.
A love fest that continues to change the world.
Yeah, and we saw the numbers over the weekend. They're coming back up and up. So we were glad to see that it was a successful march in DC over the weekend as well. Stay with us.
Incredible interview.
Very incredible. Thank you so much, Cheryl.